everyone, it's Claudia, and welcome to Take a Moment to ... And that does represent a new topic that I bring to you each and every weekday that I hope will inspire and encourage you to pause and take a moment to think about what I'm saying and maybe even tweak perspective a little bit. Today is take a moment to set boundaries. I have talked to a number of people, and setting boundaries in one's life can be so difficult because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. I know I had to go through that myself, and it is a very difficult thing to do the very first time you have to do it. It was for me. And the first person that I ever set a boundary with was my own mother. And it was a situation where she could not accept the fact that I was an adult, I was a grown woman, and I was making decisions on my own. And I had to literally lay down the law and set a boundary. I did it with love, but it was not pretty, and she was not happy. But once she realized I meant business, and this is a line you cannot cross, she acquiesced and she understood that I am an adult and this is if I want your advice, I will ask you for it. If not, I just stay quiet. But this is my life and I make my decisions. And it was not easy. I'm being very honest here. It was not easy. But once I did it, I realized I had to put myself first. And it was very difficult to do because I am not someone who does that. I always like about putting other people before myself. But there are times in life where we have to say no, enough, set a boundary. And but once I did do it, it became easier as time went on. And I've had to do it with a number of people in my life. And I'm sure you've had to face the same thing. And the people that I've talked to, I've had to mentor them and counsel them on how to go about setting a boundary in their life. And sometimes they're ready to hear and ready to do it. But other than that, no. And then they will continue to bear the pain of the decision of not setting a boundary. And we have to recognize we are adults and we have our own decisions to make. And we cannot let somebody trample on us or treat us like a doormat. And it's very important that we recognize that there's a difference between allowing that to happen and standing up for ourselves. And there are a couple of scriptures I want to use today. The first is out of Galatians 6:5, which is for each will have to bear his own load. And I don't want to take on your stuff. I don't want you to take on my stuff. And many people that I've known in my life have tried to dump their garbage on me. And that's a boundary I've had to set too. And I've had to learn how to do that. It's like, no, unacceptable. And I've had to learn to keep my stuff to myself and not to share with others that are not in a place in my life that should be part of my life in certain respects. The other scripture is out of Proverbs 25:17. Let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he have his fill of you and hate you. I am just getting this image of, people who overstay their welcome and stuff like that. But if people keep knocking on your door and keep coming in and are uninvited, it gets to the point of just get out. I don't want to see you anymore. And it can lead to hate and just disagreements and stuff like that. But we have our own homes, we have our own lives, we have our own ways of dealing with things. And just keep it to ourselves, keep it under our own roof. And yes, there is scripture that says we have to bear each other's burdens, but that's when there's a need, a genuine need, that people need prayer, they need help, they need to be to know that they're not alone and they need to be comforted. I'm not talking about stuff like that. But if somebody overstays their welcome, if they're treading on very tender areas in our lives and they are insinuating themselves into our lives and us to them, it is not a good situation. So it is paramount. I really believe it's paramount that we need to have the backbone, the ability to say no, and to set the boundaries and to put ourselves in a position of authority of our own lives. So today, I encourage you to take a moment to set boundaries.